June 2nd, 2014. We're looking at satellite images directly above Florida. Check this out. This tropical storm is up to 60 miles per hour. The eye was visible overnight in the infrared, and you can see it just getting covered with clouds now. You can see the very center of rotation. And overnight, the heat of the sun let some of those clouds die down. But this thing is past the point of just dying away. We're going to have to deal with it for a few days. Today you'll see the tall clouds now with the heat of the sun completely wrap that center. We should have a hurricane, and Carolina, especially South Carolina, you're going to be the first one to take a hit. Then North Carolina, right up the entire East Coast, guys. Check this out. As of 8 a.m. Eastern, it says advisory number 6A, 50-knot wind, 60 miles an hour. Minimum central pressure 998. Remember yesterday it went from 107 to 103. It is moving north at 6 miles an hour. That's picked up speed from 2 miles an hour. And I think it's starting to sense that warmer water, and it's going to pick up speed both in rotation and in forward motion. And this thing's going to rake the East Coast, guys. There's no doubt about it. Let's quickly look over at the Bay of Campeche in the Gulf of Mexico. We're still watching this movement of storms that are moving from west to east and north up into the Gulf. It's a matter of time before one of those start to rotate. We'll see. We'll watch it through the next day or so. Notice the hurricane off South Carolina. It's not waiting till North Carolina like it was yesterday morning, and remaining a hurricane all the way up through Massachusetts. You see that? So you're going to get raked, East Coast. Look how far on inland that the winds will reach out to. Now, those are your lighter winds, but notice down around North Carolina, in that area, you're in some serious winds on shore. Those bridges will probably be closed that come in off the islands in North Carolina. Again, there's your storm. There's your hurricane watch area right there. Now, again, this thing's going to rake the East Coast, and notice this front that's coming from the West Coast moving east. Sometimes that will add to the moisture. We'll just have to wait and see about that. New York, you know you're very vulnerable to these storms. Sandy taught you that. Let's check this out. This is Daytona Beach. Yesterday it was clear. You could see a lot better than this. There's some moisture on the lens. You can see that band. Now if we move up to North Carolina, we'll pan the camera back south towards Florida. You can see the sky's fairly light. It looks like a calm day. It makes you think about things like before we had radar. Just a day before a hurricane, this is what it would look like, you know, for the people that lived here that didn't have the modern technology. Of course, there was mariners that were very smart and knew how to read certain signs, but it didn't give you much warning time, did it, guys? As we continue to pan, it will get darker as we move south down the beach looking towards Florida and towards this storm that's building. But within a day, this will be a completely different scene, so do not be lax in getting prepared for this. Maybe those guys in the boat are getting the boats around out of to where they would be in some type of protected area, or either put on a trailer and moved out. There will be a lot of damage in this area. We'll see it on the news in the next few days. There's no way around it. Looking down the Carolina coast, different webcams, you can see that, again, it's almost deceiving. But if you look at the top of the pier, there are 3 windmills pointed to the south, and they're turning pretty good. And on the ocean, from sailing about every 10 feet, in elevation, your wind speed increases. So you can see that up about 40 feet or so. Pretty good winds. This is Myrtle Beach. You can tell by the flags the direction that the storm's coming from. Again, quite deceiving. And I've watched these hurricanes, guys, since 1969. Hurricane Camille came in and destroyed the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and we've had a few since then. Quite a few, up into Katrina, and you guys up on the East Coast remember Sandy. It's nothing to play with, and once it gets started, you almost have 0 options except to hunker down. That's not a good option. Heads up, be safe.